I volunteer. Put it together. I'll sign on the dotted line. Ricky Cobb and Tim Walz. Let's throw leather. You notice the View crowd didn't go crazy for that one? And normally they cheer like trained seals. Who's doing the shitting, Megan?
Yeah. Who?
Who's doing the shitting? Let's begin today with Tim Walz, the failed Democratic vice presidential candidate, is out there making the rounds on media and, well, depending upon what your political ideology is, he thinks he can kick your ass. Let's go to the tape.
How do you fight it?
This
I think I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they wanted to. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
Okay. Tim Walz is going to be kicking some asses. Is that what's going to happen? Ronnie, where are you, Ronnie? I have said on this program many times, I'm ready to fight a bantamweight. There's no 118-pound man that I'm afraid of. I will tell you that right
now. Tim Walz is crazier than you.
Maybe I need, instead of a 118-pound man, maybe I need a full-size man like Tim Walz. Jake Paul, if you need a fight on your undercard for your next pay-per-view extravaganza, I volunteer. Put it together. I'll sign on the dotted line. Ricky Cobb and Tim Walz. Let's throw leather.
Do it.
Let's see if Tim is ready for this. Tim, you want to do it? 8 rounds? Let's go. What you tell me how many ounces you want the gloves to be? How many tampons we have to put in the gloves to pad them up?
You think he wants to taste the power of Ricky Cobb?
I don't think that he wants any part of the power of Ricky Cobb, Ronnie T-shirts. I really don't think that he wants any of that smoke. But we'll find out. Speaking of smoke, Ron, did you see yesterday in Las Vegas, a Tesla dealership, domestic terrorism? I suppose that the individual is now in custody, setting multiple Teslas on fire. The flames flying high. I mean, it was quite a scene. This can't be normalized, Ron. Look, I don't care what your political ideology is. The answer is never to go out and commit acts of terrorism. If you have to commit acts of domestic terrorism to make your point, you really have to consider that you're on the wrong side of truth and honor and justice and all of those good things.
Party of compassion?
Look, whoever you are, this is not a political. This shouldn't be a political issue. This should be an issue of whatever statement you think you're making, whatever it is that you think is important. You do not make that point by going out and committing terrorism. And if you do so, you are marking yourself as the bad guy. Clearly, these people who are out there thinking that threatening people. There's a website out there, Ron, called DogeQuest, where they are. Depending on the reports that you believe, some people have already been doxxed. They're certainly threatening. We know for a fact that they are threatening to dox other Tesla owners, putting it out there. Take a look at this. Saying, sell your car or stay on the list. They want proof that you have sold your Tesla, and then they won't menace you.
Oh, but you're supposed to sell it to somebody else, and then they'll menace that person. Okay, just wanted to make sure I got that straight.
It's unbelievable. Are we okay with this as a society? Anybody who thinks this is twisted. They've gotten everything twisted in their head. Look at Elon Musk here saying encouraging destruction of Teslas throughout the country is extreme domestic terrorism. And it is. It could be, if it was Ford F-150 pickup trucks, it would be domestic terrorism. If it was Kia Sorrentos, my old ride, Ron, it's domestic terrorism. If you say anything about any group of people who own something or have some particular characteristic that identifies them, and you say, we are going to make your life hell, we're going to make you live in fear, we're going to come and destroy your property, or we're at least going to make you get up every day and worry that your property is going to be destroyed, you're the bad guy, okay? real clearly, you're the bad guy if you resort to those kind of tactics. Whatever your views are, you have just absolutely put any reasonable consideration of them to the side because you're a criminal. And it's also a bad idea, Ron, because these Teslas apparently have cameras everywhere. And if anybody goes up and attempts to damage one, well, there's a very good chance that you're on candid camera. Just like the guy at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport that they're still searching for. But I have no doubt they're going to figure out who he is because he was identified visually, and it's a matter of time until somebody rats him out. Look, Tim Walz, you can accept my challenge or you cannot accept my challenge. I'll cut through you like a hot knife going through butter. It's what I'll do. But I got a bigger issue with you, Tim Walz, and it is related to the domestic terrorism that we're seeing. Here's Tim Walz making light of it. We'll watch the tape, and then we'll get Ron's reaction.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
All right, so how are you supposed to take that? Look, at best, and I'm a benefit of the doubt giver. I really am. I'm not a hot take guy. I'm not. So I'm willing to accept the possibility that he's just tone deaf. He's not thinking about his words in light of the domestic terrorism. He's just delighting in anything that is bad for Elon Musk. However, do you think that Tesla's stock dropping is related to the fact that this is going on right now? If you had Tesla stock, how good would you feel about that? Well, we're going to try to scare half of the population from buying a Tesla, and fuck that, you're scaring everybody from buying a Tesla. You're trying to scare everybody from doing it. Ron, can you take it another way? Am I being too generous here in not saying that he's endorsing domestic terrorism? And at a minimum, it's a tacit sort of passing response that makes light of it. I don't think there's any way that you can frame it more generously than that.
I mean, I've said it before, and I think he's just proving my point. Like, he's an asshole. Like, this is asshole behavior. Like, to take joy, and it's just not Elon's wealth. Like, people invest in companies. Like, people invest in the stock market, and they invest in individual stocks. He's just taking delight in this. So Elon actually quote tweeted a video of Waltz. The video of Waltz saying that he gets a little boost. And Elon said, sometimes when I need a little boost, I look at the J.D. Vance portrait in the White House and I thank the Lord. So, it's kind of it's a nice little high road response. He still responded, but he did take the high road. He wasn't mean, wasn't vicious. He wasn't an asshole like Waltz is being. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how we had this wild switch from all these people that wanted to save the planet and force us to buy electric cars are now trying to blow these cars up and have us sell them and buy gas cars. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand what's going on.
You're talking about Walz's comments being insensitive, I guess, in the best way that you could frame it, to people who own Tesla stock, regular citizens. But how about the people who own Teslas?
Sure.
And I'm sure that many of them voted for Tim Walz as well. I don't
probably
think it's
most
become
of them.
Purely a partisan issue. Yeah, right. So how about those folks? You can sit there and you can make light of it all you want to, but it's a very serious issue because in all seriousness, dude, like if you owned a Tesla, wouldn't you be a little uneasy knowing that things are getting doxxed? They're putting people's addresses and things out there. I mean, this is like in fucking mafia movies where they come in and they say, it'd be a real shame if something should happen to your business here.
Yeah.
You know?
No, but at the very minimum,
How's
Ricky,
it different than that?
these people are having to drive around and potentially just getting flipped off for no reason, or just, a nice person who's all of a sudden just getting dirty looks. Like, people shouldn't have to live that way. Like, we live in a society where we're supposed to, at the very minimum, let's just ignore each other, right? Just let people live. But this, I'm seeing videos all over social media where people in Teslas are holding their cameras at cars next to them, flipping them off. It's like, people don't need to live that way.
It's ridiculous. If you have a problem with the current administration, if you have a problem with Elon Musk, direct those concerns towards those people, not your fellow citizens who happen to be driving a car that you don't like the guy who owns the company. I find that to be juvenile, and I find it to be, reprehensible. Ron, if these people were around in the 80s, they probably would have wanted to set Kit on fire. Ron, remember Knight Rider?
Oh,
David Hasselhoff. What would they?
Yes.
What would they have done to him? This is a tweet from probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I said, okay, so you've got an Apple Watch and you drive a Tesla. Big fucking deal. In the future, we're all, what was his name? Michael Knight? I can't remember his first name. In the future, we're all David Hasselhoff. Everybody's got this technology. Okay, they don't talk yet. Oh, I see that Kit has joined us here. It's I enjoyed your work very much, Kit. What are you doing these days, Kit?
Yes, Michael. I am cruising the country looking for new Tesla dealerships. If you would like to find one near you, please. Woo woo. Woo woo.
Kit was he was Siri. He was Alexa or Siri before. We've got all of this technology now. You look back on it now and it's just like, okay, well, what's the big deal? Everybody can do that. Ron, out in California, look, the Democrats in California are in a different category almost. California Senate Majority Leader Lena Gonzalez wants to have the 76 logo removed from Dodger Stadium. And that 76 logo, which is on top of the scoreboard or, right out there in prominent view, it's been there since 1962 when the stadium opened. It's iconic, but we can't do anything that would be encouraging to oil and gas companies. And Phillips 66 owns 76. So now it's out there saying that the Dodgers are apparently a bad organization for being affiliated with gasoline.
What is wrong with these people? Like, literally, what is wrong with these people? Can they not have just normal, everyday people thoughts? Like, who walks around having these thoughts?
I don't know, Ron. Look, if you want to drive an electric vehicle, that's great. Ron, as you know, I've been driving an electric vehicle for the last 3 weeks. My car has been in the shop for 3 weeks today, Ron. I'm beginning to wonder if I'm ever going to see Thelma Lou again. But they gave me a Dodge Charger, and it's electric, fully electric. So the first time that I have ever, recharged an electric car was a couple of weeks ago. I've done it twice now, so I at least have a little greater appreciation of how it works.
You hang your head in shame?
There's a fast charger. Well, look, I'd like my car back. Honestly, I appreciate gasoline a little more than I did 3 weeks ago. Because now it's like if I want to charge this thing, and I guess people who own electric cars, they charge them in their garage overnight or whatever. Well, I don't have that. Right?
Yeah, you're like,
and I'm
you don't have it's like you don't
in
have a washer and dryer in your house and you got to go to the laundromat.
Yes, I'm the coin guy right now. So I have to go and find one of these places, and then I got to wait like an hour for this thing to charge. So I went and parked at a Noodles and Company, went inside, got a bowl of noodles, came back out like an hour later. The car was at 85%.
I don't know why this is so funny to me.
It's just, and I look at it now when I'm out driving, I'm like seeing how many miles I have left. And I'm like, okay, do I want to go places? Because it's such a hassle to go charge the fucking thing that I don't want to go very far so that I can avoid it. Yeah. I'm practically an invalid now, Ron. Not going anywhere. Well, let's go back to Dodger Stadium for a second, where they've had the gasoline sign up proudly for over 60 years. Take a look at this. This is an old Super 70s classic right here. I see this one circulating places without attribution. I'll see it on Facebook once in a while. Dusty Baker fires home while one fan pukes over the railing, and a shirtless George Carlin gets the fuck out of Dodge. That guy looks just like George Carlin. That might be Richard Petty sitting back there as well. I'm not sure. We can't be certain that that's not George Carlin. I can't rule it out completely.
Wait, is the guy throwing up shirtless also?
Thing. Yes.
Is that a thing, not wearing shirts to games back then?
Well, back in the 70s, not wearing shirts places was, that's the no shirt, no shoes, no service era. They finally came up with that because so many sketchy motherfuckers were just walking around tits out that they finally had to say, we have to draw
we should do the show. Let's do the show.
Here.
Let's do the show shirtless one day.
The world is not ready for that, Ron.
It could be a bet. It could be the punishment for a bet.
Well, listen, if you look at you and me, our first sponsorship might be Wonder Bra if we do that. Wonder Bra with the poll of the day. The man's ear.
Man's ear.
Ron, we are now 2 games into the Major League Baseball season.
Yes.
It's the day after St. Patrick's Day, and the Cubs are already 0-2. Fuck my life is all that I can tell you. You know, normally as a Cubs fan, we at least got to wait until April until the wheels came off. But no, it's March the 18th. They're already 2 games under 500. Shohei Ohtani, at the crack of dawn, when the rooster crowed this morning in America, Shohei Ohtani had his first home run on the board. Dodgers beat the Cubs 6-3. And he's on his way. Is he on his way to 50-50 again? We'll see. I wouldn't put it past him.
So will they go back to spring training after this? Will they go back to spring training games after?
I don't know if they have more spring training games or not. It'd be sort of weird if the Dodgers and the Cubs did. I think other teams open on or around the 27th. I think that's American opening day. There might, I know there are at least some games on the 27th. I don't know if that is the first game for everybody else. Here's another good one for you, Ron. It combines
no more spring training for him, guys. No more spring training for him.
No more spring training. Okay.
Yeah, they start with the Tigers on the 27th. That's it.
There you go. So they got a week off. Come back, get over your jet lag, and prepare for the American portion of their seasons. We're combining 2 of your favorite things here, Ron. This is a perfect clip for you. It's going to hit your sweet spot. We got Chuck Schumer, one of your favorite figures in American society, and we've got the ladies of The View. So you want to talk about the stew that is percolating on that stovetop. Let's go to it now. This might be, and I've seen Chuck Schumer say some things that are off the wall. This may be my favorite, criticizing Americans who want to keep their money. Let's listen.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, my the land and water that I own, or my employees? They hate government. Government's a barrier to people, a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
Okay, good. We are not letting them take away my ability to make tens of millions of dollars off the back of the American taxpayer.
Through insider trading.
I believe there are enough idiots who will support me in that. He made the argument. Who doesn't want less government regulation?
Well,
maybe if you're 18 years old and you don't understand how the fucking world works yet. Yeah, I mean, career politicians.
Yeah,
certainly
he does.
Don't.
I mean,
But
he has an agenda,
does he
Ricky.
think that that's a populist message?
Yeah, he did, because he put his hands up like this, and he said, "We are united."
And you notice the View crowd didn't go crazy for that one, and normally they cheer like trained seals, everything that Behar or Whoopi Goldberg say. But I didn't hear anything. They should have put the applause sign on, because I don't think the average person wants more government regulation. Yeah, you go out there and push for more government regulation. But he's serious, Ron. And don't call him Shirley. Airplane is in the Why Not tournament, as you know, Ron. It's taken on, I believe, Andre the Giant, I think, in the first round. The great Leslie Nielsen changed the entire arc of his career with that movie. He is serious. Don't call him Shirley. So many great lines in Airplane, but Leslie Nielsen kind of stole that movie as the doctor and turned it into like what we all remember him best for. Sometimes it's hard to remember that Leslie Nielsen had a career as a conventional actor until the ripe old age there. And then he became Frank Drebin from Police Squad. And
wonder how old he is right there.
Naked Gun movies. God, dude, he's probably young. Well, he's younger than you. He might be my age. Jared, how old was Leslie Nielsen in 1980? Somebody hit that Wikipedia page and let us know. Yeah, I don't want to know. He's probably younger than I am. There. All right, Ron, let's go ahead. The All-Star team, the Avengers, the woke Avengers have assembled, Ron, because Megan Rapinoe is at it again, bashing Donald Trump for his executive order to protect women's sports. I don't know. Megan Rapinoe here saying, don't tell me it's about the rights of women's sports. It's totally disingenuous to say that. It's just kind of cruel and depraved. The idea of preventing biological males from playing women's sports. She went on to say that people need to stop shitting on women's sports. Who's doing the shitting, Megan?
Yeah. Who?
Who's doing the shitting? It would seem to me it's the biological males that are showing up and winning state championships and winning NCAA championships and spiking balls off of the head of high school students like Peyton McNabb, causing them to have brain bleeds and permanent damage. Who's shitting on women's sports? Is it me? Because I'm the one. Because Megan, I don't know if you have kids or not. I don't know if you've adopted or if you have a family with Sue Bird or not. I don't think you do, but maybe I'm wrong. I, on the other hand, have fathered 5 daughters. I have 5 girls, ages 12 to 22. And I think they deserve an opportunity to compete against other girls and women in their athletic endeavors. And I think, equally importantly, they have a right to their privacy and a place where they can change clothes and not feel vulnerable or like they are being put on display for someone who is not a biological woman. Ron, am I the one who has it backwards?
No, Ricky. And I think what Megan is trying to do, because I read the article, is I think she's trying to suggest that the getting, men out of women's sports is really just a play to eradicate all transgender from the earth.
Yeah.
That's of how
we hear a race.
Yeah.
We hear a race transgender people. Listen.
Right.
I can't speak for anybody else. I'm not here. I'm not Caroline Leavitt. Okay? And I'm not even a Republican. What I'm here to say, however, is there is nothing that erases transgender people from society or limits their constitutional rights otherwise that is tied to saying biological males cannot compete against girls and women in athletics. That is what I'm saying.
But what you're saying is not inflammatory, Ricky.
Fears,
it's not inflammatory what you're saying. And she just says ridiculous inflammatory things that there's absolutely no connection. There's no proof of it. And she just says it because it gets headlines and it works that side up. Yeah. It's again, we use this word a lot, disingenuous. Like, she knows what she's doing. There's no chance she thinks that Donald Trump and his administration are trying to erase or eradicate transgender people from the earth.
Well, I think some of them really do think it. Look, we talk about it all the time. I believe that these people believe what they're saying a greater percentage of the time than you do. I think you believe that they're engaging in rhetorical tricks and bullshittery, and I don't doubt that that's happening sometimes. But I think people like Megan Rapinoe really do believe that this is some domino in the obliteration of an entire class of people. And I don't see that. I certainly don't see it from this one particular issue, which there's a reason that 80% of Americans, if you look at public opinion polling, have come together on this. It's not fair what happened in Maine. When we had Maine Representative Laurel Libby on the show, she said 8 months after a boy competed in pole vaulting championships in Maine, he's competing as a female. In 8 months, you can't undo everything that made you a male up until that point. I don't think you can ever undo it completely, period, which is why I think the current Olympic standards are stupid, quite frankly. You cannot erase that you were born a man. Yeah, we can take away your testosterone. We can shoot you up with estrogen. You will experience some physical changes from that. But you still have some of the inherent physical male qualities even after all of that happens. But in some of these cases, Ron, that's not even happening. In Maine, all the kid had to do was say, I feel like a girl now, and everybody was supposed to just clear a path to this individual winning the state pole vaulting championship.
Ricky, that using that same logic in Maine, they should allow a 230-pound kid who wrestles to say that he identifies as 130 pounds, and then he can go wrestle 130 pounds and win the state championship. Like, using the same logic, that should be allowed, correct? And there's no chance in the world we would ever let that happen.
Well, Ron, all I know is that nobody had better identify as being 118 pounds around me, or I'll kick their ass, is all that I have to say. Don't identify as a bantamweight, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Let's hear from Theo Vaughn and Shane Gillis on this issue of biological males in women's sports. They got together, and Shane had some thoughts.
I like to see him in the women's sports.
You do?
Yeah.
Some man in there?
Yeah, just fucking shut up. It's fucking great.
But here's what they should though, on the TV, it should every now and then have an arrow say, this is a man.
They need to start doing like Monday Night Football intros for every female sport.
Oh,
so you can
I like
tell.
That. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, hi, I'm Mary. I went to UCLA. Frank. Purdue.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's the one there. No wonder he's got 48 points in the first half.
Yeah, he's like Rick, Women's College of Design, Wesleyan. You're like, what? That gal?
Yeah.
Frank
Things
Purdue.
have changed a little bit. Remember when Shane Gillis got canceled? He had made it onto Saturday Night Live's cast for about like 3 minutes, and then some podcast comments surfaced, and Saturday Night Live, immediately they cut ties with him because he had made some comment about, I don't know if it was Asian women or Asians in general or whatever.
And then he got really popular and they had him back.
Yeah. How many times has he hosted? He's more popular now than their entire cast combined a few years later. And, things have changed.
And splashdown. Crew 9 back on Earth.
Kingdom, splashdown. Good main release.
Copy, splashdown. We see main chutes cut. Nick, Alex, Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
At last, the astronauts stranded at the International Space Station for 9 months, splashdown. Welcome back to Earth, you sweet bastards. They were supposed to be there for 8 days. 8 days became 9 months in space. Lost in space. Well, they weren't lost, but they were stuck in space. I remember somebody else who got stuck in a situation that he would have rather not been in. It was supposed to be a 3-hour tour, God damn it. A 3-hour tour. But as some of you know, the weather started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost.
The minnow would
Gilligan,
be
what was
lost.
it like living all those years on a desert island? Hand me a Marlboro and I'll tell you some shit that'll fuck you up for life. The stories. Can you imagine Gilligan coming back and trying to communicate everything that happened? They would have put him in an insane asylum within a short amount of time. I swear all of these things happened while we were on an uncharted desert isle. You're saying cannibals put you in
Gorilla?
a pot.
Wasn't there a gorilla?
Yeah, I'm sure there was at some point. These old rich fuckers that I was with, everybody, they had like 1,000 different outfits. I wore the same thing every day, but I don't understand how the Howells had unlimited clothes. Why did Ginger have a bunch of different dresses? I can't figure it out. Ronnie, Elon Musk had an exclusive sit-down interview with Sean Hannity last night, and Hannity asked him point blank if SpaceX had offered to the Biden administration to go get these astronauts months ago, but were denied, and you'll see Elon's answer.
No, we definitely offered to return the astronauts earlier. There's no question about that. The astronauts were only supposed to be there for 8 days, and they've been there for almost 10 months. So obviously that doesn't make any sense. SpaceX could have brought the astronauts back after a few months at most, and we made that offer to the Biden administration. It was rejected for political reasons, and that's just a fact.
So there it is, Elon Musk alleging that the astronauts, the offer was made to the Biden administration. This is, of course, according to Elon Musk, turned down for what he calls political reasons, Ron, that the Biden administration left those astronauts up there for several extra months because they didn't want a political opponent to score points, is what he's saying.
Yeah, didn't the astronauts confirm that last week? Didn't we see an interview where the guy I said sounded like Jerry Jones?
The guy did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the astronauts stated that himself. So we'll see what the refugees from the Biden administration have to say about it, if they have anything to say about it. But man, how pissed would you be if you had to stay in space for several extra months because they said, no, that's all right. We don't want your help.
That's Trump's friend, so we'll pass.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.